Are tabbies actually worth it? Or are they literally just the most controversial shoe on the internet? Because when someone wears these, literally everyone and their mothers has the strongest opinions on them. Some people think they're ugly, some think that they're genius. And after owning several pairs myself, including the Maison Margiela ones, I think people are judging them for the wrong reasons. And like, here's the most interesting part, right? Is that the people that really hate tabbies, they've never tried them on. But the people that own them, they'll buy another pair and another pair. First and foremost, tabbies are not some like magical, trendy internet shoe that just came about. They are actually inspired by traditional Japanese tabi socks, which date back centuries. They were designed to separate the big toe from the others for balance, movement, and comfort while they were working. Like people in construction or farming. Construction specifically, you want to be able to move really well. You know, when you're making buildings, you need to balance. So having these separated, it's what helped. Less deaths, I'm sure too. So no, Mason Margiela did not invent the tabby, but what he did do was introduce the split toe design to high Western fashion in, I believe it was 1988. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, so these have been around way longer than Maison Margiela. I'm not gonna say existed, but yeah, kind of existed. He had taken something historic and he made it modern. It's nothing new. It's just that Margiela just brought it to the Western world, and I feel like maybe some people actually dislike tabbies because it is kind of like a high fashion symbol, I'm not gonna lie, but you don't have to get the ones by Maison Margiela. Like, I only have one pair of the Maison Margiela tabbies. The rest of mine are quote unquote fake, which we're gonna get into. Don't worry, we're gonna get into that whole spiel as well. Tabbies feel timeless because they've always been timeless. I really despise when people say that, like, don't buy tabbies, like they're just a trendy shoe at the moment, they're gonna go away. Because tabbies are not a trend. They have literal history behind them. And it's crazy that, like, people don't understand that. Like, I don't expect everyone to look up the history of the tabby shoe, of course. But if you've seen anime, which I feel like a lot of people have, or you've visited Japan, or you've just seen old pieces at a museum illustrated by a Japanese person, you see a lot of split toe designs in art. Sorry, I'm rambling. I don't like it when people call them just a trendy shoe because they're not a trendy shoe. I think that people react so strongly to tabbies is because they challenge what, you know, a typical shoe looks like, you know? All shoes that we are used to have a round little place for your toe to go, right? But this is like interesting, you know? It's new. America hasn't had this. Actually, a lot of the world hasn't. But the split toe tabby, it's new and it's a change. And people are scared of change and they are scared of the unfamiliar, which is to be expected. You know, a cat doesn't like change. Humans are kind of like cats, in my not very humble opinion. And when someone breaks, or something breaks the pattern of familiarity, a lot of people, you know, they flock. They reject it wholeheartedly at first. And that's kind of where high fashion comes in, because everything that is considered technically high fashion has been rejected first. And then, you know, you see it more and then you start to love it. Fashion in general it's just always worked like this. Almost every like iconic piece you can think of looked strange before it wasn't. Like, you know the song Apple Bottom Jeans, Boots with the Fur? Like, of course, unless you're Native American, you wouldn't think to you wouldn't think to put fur on your boots. And I'm sure back then, right when it came out, everyone was like, what the F? You know, they're like, what is that? Like, that looks so strange. There's fur on your boots. And then it became stylish. It became a thing. It's in a song. Okay, sorry. This topic gets me going. But all that to say, you don't necessarily have to love tabbies, but you shouldn't hate them either. I will say though that tabbies tend to expose who thinks for themselves. I own several pairs of tabbies, you know, some designer, some not. And I would like to put out there that like Maison Margiela Tabis specifically should not be called real tabbies. It makes no sense from a historical context that like they were made long before he brought it here and modernized them. So all that to say, if you hate tabbies because you hate the price tag, completely kind of understandable, but you don't need to get a Maison Margiela pair. I have 4 other pairs that aren't quote unquote real, but all tabbies are real. It's literally just a split toe design. The people that walk around, anyone who says you have fake tabbies because they're not Maison Margiela, I'm sorry, but they're little, like, you know, bananas in the brain. Like, you don't have to listen to them. If you like them, there are so many, like, affordable options. I'm pretty sure I got all 4 pairs on Amazon. And they were between, like, 50 to 70 each. I have 5 pairs in total. These, a pretty penny. But it was hard to find this specific style. They suck breaking in. The leather on those pretty babies, they suck to break in, 100%. But you know, all my other ones that aren't designer, they don't need to be broken in. They're like soft pleather, fake leather, whatever you want to call that, pleather. They're wonderful. I can walk around in every single pair for miles. I love bringing my tabbies to Japan specifically because you walk everywhere in Japan unless it's like super far, but a 20-minute walk in tabbies and then you're out the entire night is nothing. It's nothing. They feel like a sneaker to me. And I don't even really like sneakers, so that's probably not the best way for me to put it, but like tabbies are my version of sneakers. I can walk forever in a tabby. It can be one of the ones with like a little heel on it, or not. Like, they're so comfortable. I got off topic again. All tabbies are real tabbies, okay? The design and the silhouette existed long before luxury brands decided to touch it with their little paws. So if you love them, wear the ones in your budget. You don't have to shell out rent money on a pair of those because someone told you that they're the only real ones. That's ridiculous. Don't listen to those people. My favorite part about tabbies though is that when you walk outside in them, why is my voice breaking? When you walk outside in a tabby, people notice. They do a double take at your feet because tabbies are not like out there. If like they're not a shoe that's in your face. If you wear a black pair of tabbies, it's not in your face. Like I have a two colored one. That one gets people's attention pretty quickly. But like the rest of mine are just black. They're just plain black. Some people give them a menacing look and some people are like, holy shit, like what does that girl know? The shoes, they give off the energy of like, that girl knows something that I don't. And I do. I do know something that you don't. Sorry. And fashion at its best should feel like that. It shouldn't feel expensive or trendy. It should just feel memorable. So, are tabbies worth it? This part is just strictly my opinions, okay? If you want a shoe just because everyone else owns it, then no. If you want a shoe that makes you feel safe, I would also say no. And I say safe in the context not of like getting hurt, but safe in the terms of like safe socially, that like you fit in somewhere. I'm also gonna no, big no stamp. But if you want a shoe with its own personality and history and presence, then I would say yes. I would absolutely say yes. And I feel like everyone always asks, at least when I walk out and these people always ask, are they comfortable? Surprisingly, yes. When I first got into Tabis before I started my cute little collection, obviously I wasn't gonna shell out rent money on these because I was like, what if I don't like them? What if they're not comfortable? What if I actually hate them? It was this pair. This was the first ever pair I got, and it was on Amazon like 5 years ago, 4. I've beat these up quite a bit, actually. I love, there's like so many scratches on them. I got that pair and I was like, holy shit, I love these. I love these. 100%, I was completely obsessed once I got those and I started wearing them, and they were so easy to walk in. They didn't hurt my feet. I could walk forever in them. I didn't even have to break them in. And then after I got those, I believe I only had those for maybe 2 years. And then I was like, okay, let me go with my boyfriend inside Maison Margiela and spent rent money on a pair of designer ones. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I love these with all my heart, okay? But you have to break these in because this is real leather. And if you're going to get a pair of Maison Margiela ones, buy the socks. Buy the socks. I don't care if you buy the designer version or you buy the ones on Amazon. You're going to want socks to break these in because they hurt. They really hurt. But yes, still comfortable. I actually wear my mules out all the time. I wear my flats out all the time. The boots when I'm going to the club because I don't want drinks on my feet. Tabis are my core shoe because I can walk forever in them, and they're super comfy and they're super cute, and people do a double take at my shoe and then they talk to me about my shoes. I've convinced so many people in person to buy Tabis. I'm doing someone's work out there. And this video isn't to convince you to get any, but I hope that you'll really think about these shoes and the historical context behind them, and not just think of them as like, oh, they're just a trendy shoe. Ew. Yeah. So in my opinion, Tabis aren't ugly. I think they're just like a really honest shoe. They show if you dress to blend in or if you dress to express yourself, which Tabis are the latter, in my opinion, my personal opinion. But be honest, would you wear Tabis? These are the boots. Flats, mules, Mary Janes? No. What are these called again? Oh, slingbacks. These ones are slingbacks. Tell me down below because I love hearing your brutally honest opinions. But I will see you guys next week. Bye!